A $60,000 truck selling for $30,000, half price, right now. That's not clickbait. It's the gut-wrenching reality of July 2025, as desperate dealers liquidate inventory at numbers that sound impossible. Tony Rodriguez, staring down floor plan interest bleeding $3,000 a day, confides, "I'd rather lose my shirt on a Jeep Wagoneer than lose my entire dealership." Audi's S e-tron GT just dropped $15,000. Dodge offers $12,250 off the Charger Daytona EV, and buyers are walking away with new Mazdas, Fords, and Nissans for far less than their sticker. But what's forcing $60,000 trucks down to $30,000? And could these deals of a lifetime be the beginning of something even more devastating? To answer that, you need to see what's really happening behind the scenes. Tony Rodriguez wakes up every morning knowing the math is against him. His dealership's floor plan interest bill now runs $95,000 a month. That's $3,167 drained every single sunrise before a single car leaves the lot. The number was $27,000 just a year ago. Today, it's more than triple that. Tony's inventory exposure stands at $8.7 million, most of it sitting unsold, each vehicle a ticking meter. Every truck, every Jeep, every SUV parked outside costs him money by the hour. At $44 per vehicle per day, 100 cars left untouched for a week burn through $30,000 in interest alone. That's before payroll, utilities, insurance, or advertising. The longer a truck sits, the deeper the loss. One Wrangler, unsold for 312 days, cost Tony $22,776 just to keep on the books. When it finally moved, it sold for $19,400. The original sticker was $60,000. The numbers do not add up. Tony's not alone. Across the industry, dealers are watching their floor plan bills balloon as interest rates climb and inventory stacks up. What once was a manageable monthly cost is now a daily crisis. "It's a treadmill set to sprint," Tony says. "If you stop running, you go under. If you keep running, you bleed faster." No advertising campaign can outrun the burn rate. Every unsold car is a liability, not an asset. Each day a new invoice arrives. Each month the bill gets bigger. The pressure is relentless, and for many, survival means selling at a loss just to slow the financial bleed. In this environment, the concept of profit is a memory. The only goal left is to cut the losses before the bank calls time. 312 days. That's how long Tony's Wrangler sat on the lot, its tires sinking deeper into the gravel with every sunrise. The original sticker was $60,000, a price that once drew in buyers with ease. But month after month, the Wrangler stood untouched, each day adding another $44 to Tony's floor plan bill. By the time it finally left the dealership, the math was brutal. $22,776 spent just to keep it parked. In the end, it sold for $19,400, less than a third of its manufacturer's suggested retail price. The loss on paper was over $60,000, but the real pain was in the slow bleed, the daily reminder that every unsold vehicle was a liability, not an asset. Tony's relief at seeing the Wrangler go was almost physical. "I was just glad to see it leave," he admitted. At that point, losing money is better than losing the whole business. The sale didn't feel like a victory. It felt like triage, one less car draining his accounts, one more step away from insolvency. The numbers made no sense, but the alternative was worse. Keep holding out for a buyer who would never come, and let the interest eat through the rest of the lot. This is how the liquidation spreads, one desperate deal at a time. Every vehicle that finally moves off the lot leaves a crater in the books, but it's the only way to slow the hemorrhage. Dealers like Tony aren't chasing profit anymore. They're trying to survive the month. Each loss leader, each fire sale price, is a calculated surrender to the reality that the old rules don't apply. In this market, survival means selling at a loss and hoping the next invoice doesn't arrive before the next car leaves. Across the country, Dealer lots have become holding pens for unsold vehicles, and the numbers are staggering. By midsummer, the nation's new car inventory stands at 2.9 million units, nearly double what was considered healthy just 2 years ago. The industry's old benchmark was 60 days of supply. This summer, Ford dealers are sitting on 101 days. Ram has 114. Mazda, 117. These are not isolated outliers. This is the new normal. Ford's inventory alone totals nearly 500,000 new vehicles, each one a daily expense. On a 100-car lot, every sunrise brings another $4,000 in carrying costs. Multiply that by thousands of dealers, and the scale of the glut becomes clear. In the Midwest, overflow lots now line the edges of highways. Rows of trucks, SUVs, and sedans, all accruing interest, all waiting for buyers who aren't coming. The mathematics are relentless. For every day a vehicle sits, its value drops and its cost rises. A Ram 1500 left unsold for 120 days can rack up over $5,000 in floor plan interest and fees. Multiply that by the tens of thousands of pickups waiting for buyers, and the losses run into the billions. One dealer in Ohio described it as watching money evaporate every hour. Brand breakdowns reveal no safe harbor. Jeep dealers are staring at 109 days of supply. Nissan, 104. Even Toyota, historically lean, has crept up to 39 days, still high by their standards. The industry-wide average now sits above 90. Overflow lots are packed. Employee parking is filled with unsold inventory. Some dealers have resorted to renting extra storage just to keep up with the shipments. This is not a blip. It is a structural problem. The old rules, order what sells, keep inventory lean, no longer apply. Manufacturers kept building, even as demand dried up. Now, with interest rates high and buyers scarce, every extra day of supply is a liability. The numbers don't lie. Dealers are drowning in vehicles they can't move, and the cost of holding out for a better market is measured in millions lost each month. August 2025 is a clearance event unlike any in memory. Every major brand is now in open competition to move metal, and the deals on offer are both staggering and real. The Audi S e-tron GT, a car that stickered at $126,795 just months ago, now comes with a $15,000 discount off MSRP. The Dodge Charger Daytona EV, still new for 2024, carries a $12,250 cash allowance. Mazda's CX-90 plug-in hybrid offers $10,000 in lease cash, while Nissan is putting $10,000 straight into the hands of Aria buyers. No strings attached. Kia's Niro EV stacks $7,500 in customer cash on top of already reduced pricing. Jeep's Grand Wagoneer and Dodge's Hornet each shed $7,750 from their window stickers. Chrysler's Pacifica plug-in hybrid drops by $5,250. And the Audi A6 sedan moves with a $5,000 cash offer. Jeep's Grand Cherokee L and Grand Cherokee 4xe both come with $5,000 cash allowances, plus 0% APR for 72 months on the 4xe. Dealers are calling it the biggest cash dump we've ever seen. Ford's entire lineup is on lease blowout. The F-150 STX, America's best-selling truck, now leases at $499 a month for 36 months, with just $499 due at signing. Explorer. Active 4WD matches that deal, while Escape active. AWD and Bronco Sport both slide to $399 a month, $399 at signing. These are not base trims, these are well-equipped models, and the lease math is subsidized by factory cash that would have been unthinkable 2 summers ago. Hyundai is offering 0% APR for 60 months on the Santa Fe, plus up to $3,500 in cash savings. The Palisade follows with 0% for 60 months, up to $1,500 cash, and 90 days with no payment due. Subaru's Outback offers 1.9% APR for 72 months. Acura's new ZDX, a luxury EV, is now available with 0% financing for up to 72 months. Every one of these deals is available nationwide, and dealers are advertising them with a sense of urgency that borders on panic. Industry analysts warn that these incentives are front-loaded, with most set to expire after Labor Day. It's not just a sale, says auto expert Ryan Eversley. It's a liquidation. They want these cars gone, and they're paying buyers to take them. Customers like Mike Turner in Ohio describe the process as surreal. I walked in expecting to maybe get a couple thousand off. They handed me a lease offer that was half my old payment. I thought it was a misprint. With every manufacturer throwing cash, lease support, and zero-interest financing onto the table, the only question left for buyers is how long these deals will last. For now, the answer is simple: not long. The clearance blitz is on, and for anyone willing to act, the savings are real, immediate, and, according to every dealer in the business, unrepeatable. Jennifer Walsh never expected to see a Wagoneer in her driveway. Not at these numbers. The sticker on her 2024 Grand Wagoneer read $67,800, loaded with every comfort she'd ever wanted, but always out of reach. That changed on a sweltering Thursday in July, when her local dealer called with a number that sounded like a typo: $31,250. She drove down in a borrowed sedan, ran her hand across the chrome badging, and signed the papers before the sales manager could change his mind. "I thought it was a mistake," Jennifer admits. "I asked twice if it was a demo or a flood car. They just shook their heads and said, 'We have to move these now.'" Her old SUV was worth barely $9,000 on trade, but the dealer matched CarMax's offer and threw in free oil changes for a year. The only catch: the Wagoneer had already been on the lot for 220 days. They said every day it sat, it cost them nearly $50 in interest. I did the math on my phone. That's over 10 grand just so it could sit in the sun. Driving home, Jennifer felt a mix of disbelief and nervous excitement. She called her husband from the new leather seats, still wrapped in plastic, and told him they'd just bought a $67,000 SUV for less than the price of a used minivan. "It feels like I won something," she says, "but I keep wondering, what's the catch? Is the market really this broken?" For Jennifer, the savings are real and immediate. The questions about what comes next, about service, about resale, about the future, can wait. For now, she's just enjoying the quiet ride and the new car smell, a luxury she never thought she'd afford. Trust in the car market is unraveling, and the numbers tell the story. Auto loan delinquencies are now at levels not seen since the Great Recession. In January, 6.6% of subprime borrowers were at least 60 days past due. That's the highest delinquency rate since records began in 1994. For many buyers, the promise of a $30,000 truck feels less like a windfall and more like a warning sign. Credit is tightening. Lenders are rejecting more applications, even from buyers with decent scores. The average new car payment sits above $750 a month, while used car payments hover around $540. As interest rates push past 9%, more families are making impossible choices: pay for the car or pay for groceries. Repossession companies are working overtime, with 735,000 vehicles repossessed in just the first quarter of 2025. That's a 23% jump from last year. Industry trust is eroding too. The Dealer Trust Index, a measure of consumer confidence in auto retailers, has dropped to its lowest point in a decade. People remember the pandemic markups, says analyst Lauren McCarthy. Now they see the same dealers slashing prices by half. It doesn't feel like a deal. It feels like a trap. The anxiety is everywhere. Buyers worry about what happens to their warranties if the dealer closes. They wonder if the car they just bought for half price will be worth anything in 3 years. For every Jennifer driving home in a new Wagoneer, there are thousands more who hesitate, sensing that today's discounts carry hidden costs tomorrow. The bargains are real, but so is the unease. At the corporate level, the panic is no longer hidden. Stellantis, the giant behind Jeep, Dodge, and Chrysler, has taken a step that would have been unthinkable in any other year, offering to buy back entire dealer inventories at a fraction of their original cost. According to a Stellantis executive familiar with the discussions, the company put forward a proposal to repurchase unsold vehicles from struggling dealers, sometimes at less than half of what dealers paid. One insider described the offer bluntly. They're talking about 45 cents on the dollar. It's a lifeline for dealers who can't survive another quarter, but it's also a fire sale that signals just how deep the trouble runs. The scale is enormous. In just one region, dealers reported receiving buyback offers covering thousands of unsold units: Wranglers, Wagoneers, Hornets. Vehicles that have been sitting for months, draining cash every day. The numbers add up fast. 100 cars at $60,000 each, bought back at 45%, means a dealer gets $2.7 million for inventory that cost $6 million to acquire. The losses are staggering, but for many, it's the only way to avoid bankruptcy. One Stellantis dealer in the Midwest described the mood as controlled chaos. He explained, "We're being told, take the loss and move on, or risk losing everything. The manufacturer would rather eat billions now than keep propping up dealers who are underwater." This isn't a targeted recall or a lemon law buyback. It's a wholesale retreat. Stellantis is pulling back on production, slashing allocations, and preparing for a smaller, leaner dealer network. The message from the top is clear. Survival means cutting loose the weight, no matter the cost. For dealers, it's a gut punch. For the industry, it's a warning that the old rules are gone and there's no safety net left. Ford's Tennessee megafactory was supposed to be humming with workers building the next generation of electric pickups by now. Instead, the assembly lines stand idle, and the trucks themselves, once hyped as the company's answer to Tesla and BYD, are on hold until at least 2028. The F-150 Lightning's successor, codenamed Project T3, was first promised for 2025, then delayed to 2027, and now pushed back another year. The Blue Oval City complex, a $5.6 billion investment, sits mostly empty as Ford tells suppliers to stand down and freezes hiring plans for thousands of new jobs that were supposed to anchor the region's economy. The consequences ripple far beyond Tennessee. Across the country, Ford dealers are sitting on more than 100,000 unsold trucks and SUVs, with Lightning pickups stacking up on backlots. In Dearborn, production of the current Lightning is halved. At the Rouge Electric Vehicle Center, shifts have been cut, and workers are left wondering if their jobs will survive the next round of layoffs. Ford's own numbers show the company lost $1.3 billion in its electric vehicle division in the second quarter of 2025 alone, with annual losses projected to top $5.5 billion. A senior Ford manager, who asked not to be named, described the mood as grim and getting grimmer. Industry analysts estimate that over 20,000 jobs tied to Ford's electric vehicle supply chain are now at risk, from battery plants in Kentucky to parts suppliers in Ohio and Michigan. The promise of a new era for American manufacturing has given way to questions about whether those jobs will ever materialize. Ford's leadership calls the pause a necessary reset, a chance to develop a more affordable EV platform that can actually compete with Chinese imports. For workers and communities that bet their future on the electric truck boom, the future is on hold, waiting for a market that may not come back. In August 2025, U.S. car dealers faced over 2.9 million unsold vehicles, with some models sitting more than 300 days on lots and floor plan interest draining $95,000 a month. The result was unprecedented price cuts. The Audi S e-tron GT dropped $15,000. The Dodge Charger Daytona EV offered $12,250 off, and Ford F-150 leases started at $499 a month. Buyers like Jennifer Walsh paid nearly $20,000 below sticker for a Wagoneer, while manufacturers like Stellantis resorted to 45 cents on the dollar buybacks, and Ford delayed new EV production, putting 20,000 jobs at risk. Yet, the long-term effects of these deep discounts remain unclear. Dealer trust has eroded, subprime loan delinquencies are at 6.6%, and many questions about future supply chain stability are unanswered. What is clear? July 2025 marked the biggest clearance the U.S. auto market has seen, fueled by hard numbers and hard choices, not hype. Documented evidence shows a market transformed by oversupply, with consequences that will unfold well beyond this summer.